I'd like to welcome to Dairy Update today an industry leader, Joao Durr, who is the CEO of the Council on Dairy Cattle Breeding. We're going to be talking about an upcoming meeting and some new research that CDCB has been involved with. We've enjoyed having Joao with us as a guest previously, and we're delighted to have him back. Welcome back to Dairy Update.
Thank you for having me, and we are really delighted to occupy this space to promote our event, and also to talk a little bit about CDCB, or the Council on Dairy Cattle Breeding.
Sure. We'll come back to the November 2nd meeting that you're planning, but just give us the quick elevator speech as a reminder to some of our visitors about the work of council, about the work of the council.
Well, the Council on Dairy Cattle Breeding basically puts together all sectors of the industry associated with dairy cattle improvement, and we host the National Cooperator Database, which is the largest database in the world with data coming from DHI, the RPCs, breed associations, and also the largest genomic data database in the world that comes from our genomic nominators. So with this data, what we do, we basically provide benchmarking and fundamentally the genetic evaluations that are used by producers and industry, the artificial insemination industry and breeders, to compare their animals. So we inherited from USDA all the methodology, and we work together with them. So this database is also fundamental for our research and development efforts that occur at USDA and at universities as well. So that's what we represent here, where the data is and where the evaluations come from.
Exactly. Well, for a number of years, 6 I believe, the council has hosted an informational meeting at World Dairy Expo in the fall, obviously, and that didn't happen this year. But as with so many organizations and meetings, you're going to hold a virtual session set this year for Monday, November 2nd. Let's talk about the presentations and the information you'll be sharing there.
Yes, I mean, this industry meeting has been already a tradition, 6 years, but it's already becoming a tradition at the World Dairy Expo. It's an opportunity we have to share what we have been doing, what is coming new in the genetic evaluations, and what is the vision of the Council on Dairy Cattle Breeding in terms of the future of the genetics of all the dairy breeds. And this year is not different. We have the pleasure to share with people that we are finally releasing new traits, and one of them is very special and has been created with very heavy investment in research from USDA, now FFAR, and the Council on Dairy Cattle Breeding, which is feed efficiency. So it's one of the most important traits in terms of economic importance. And we had already last year's program dedicated to this trait, and we're finally launching for the first time in US genetic evaluations or genomic evaluations for feed efficiency in December. We are also going to launch heifer livability, which is another very important trait for young animals, because it has to do with mortality of young females, which has a very important economic impact in the farm. So we are going to be talking about these two main releases in December.
Well, let's talk about some of your guest presenters, if you will. Really some very noted and important researchers. Talk about who's on the program.
Yeah, well, the program itself, it's more centered on sustainability related to feed efficiency. We are going to start the program telling people what kind of assessment we will be putting out there in terms of feed efficiency, which is what we call feed saved. So the way we express the trade is how much feed we save to produce the same amount of milk and components, basically. So the cow that is more efficient will save, will eat less, let's say, to get the job done. So we're going to invite Kent Weigel from University of Wisconsin to talk about the project itself and some of the basic concepts, kind of recap what we had last year in our meeting, in which we discussed more the background of all this research and where we are going. And Kent has been one of the leaders of the project since the beginning, and he is going to present those concepts. Then following that, Paul Van Reyden from USDA is going to present the methodology used, how we're going to calculate these evaluations. And Kristen Gares from CDCB staff is going to present some results, preliminary results, so people can have a first feeling of how this evaluation will look like, how do we rank bulls, and how can we utilize this information in the future. Then we are going to have a panel starting with a presentation from our colleague from UC Davis, Frank, oh my God, bit lower. And yes, and Frank is going to be talking about his research topic, which is basically sustainability in dairy. He is the star of this area in the country and one of the most important voices defending the dairy in terms of these attacks that we receive, that we are the villains of the environmental crisis. And Frank can show clearly that we are not the villains, and on top of that, we are also doing a lot to improve the emissions coming from dairy farms. So following his presentation, we are going to have a panel with a very selected group of people. So the chairman of our producer advisory committee, Lloyd Halterman. So he has a dairy farm that has been awarded by his work with sustainability. Also, we're going to welcome Corey Geiger, which is the Holstein Association president, and also from the Dairy Press, and he's a member of our board. And Corey will also debate with Frank, along with Juan Tricarico, which is ahead of the Cow of the Future project, and has been working for many years on trying to improve sustainability of dairy farms. So I think it will be a very interesting debate because it will make the connection that feed efficiency is not only good for the herd owner, because it's going to spend less money feeding cows that will produce more efficiently, but also is a fundamental step in terms of improving sustainability of dairy farms and reducing emissions and really producing the same amount of milk with less resources.
Well, it sounds like a very exciting, certainly important session. All the industry is welcome to attend, as I understand it. There's no charge. Registration can be online through your website, I presume, as well as other publicity that you're putting out. We'll have a link in the introduction to this video on our website. But you invite dairy producers, breeders, industry folks, all are welcome, I presume.
Yes, this is the idea. Actually, we have been making a very strong effort to invite more producers into our meetings, but during the World Dairy Expo, they prefer to look at the cows. But we have a mix, a very healthy mix of industry people and dairy farmers in the audience. But now with this new format, we can actually amplify that audience. More people that would be occupied otherwise during the World Dairy Expo would be able to participate. Everybody is welcome. Also, I imagine that we can have a larger international audience participating because US evaluations have an impact on several markets around the world. So there are people interested in receiving information about what is going on here in US. So, and this obviously will, we will try to stimulate questions coming from the audience as well. So you'll have opportunity to provide your comments or ask questions to the speakers. But everybody's welcome. We're going to have all the links being advertised in our newsletters. Also, we're trying to put to use the press to advertise the meeting. So if you know of someone that would like to participate as well, please share the link, and everybody's welcome to be there.
Well, thank you very much. It should be quite an important program. We're speaking today with Joao Durr, the CEO of the Council on Dairy Cattle Breeding, and we're talking about the important meeting coming up on November 2nd. Joao, thank you very much for being with us on Dairy Update.
Thank you, Joel. Have a great day.
And this is Joel Hastings for DairyBusiness.com.